Sorry, guys. Hold on just one. Hold on. Sorry. I'm really sorry about this. Hold on just 1 second. I'm realizing now for some reason, um, your audio is not coming through in the recording. Um, like you guys, because it's like my desktop audio, so they can hear from my microphone, but they can't hear what's going on my computer, which makes it so they can't hear you. Let me just boom. Gosh, this is so annoying. I need to get better at this stuff. Audio input. Can you guys try to talk real quick for me? Yeah, just keep talking. I'm just not recording yet. Whoops, that's what it is. I found it.
Named Nyam, Nyam, and I admire his work a lot. And he uses a whiteboard for like demonstrations. Like he has one video called, I think it's called "Quick and Dirty Target Contact," and it's just him with the whiteboard, and it's incredible just watching him work. And all of his stuff is blockchain verifiable also. So afterwards, you can see that, you know, he wasn't making anything up. But
That's cool.
yeah,
He does them all on video.
yeah, he does them all on video, just live, so you can sort of watch his process in sketching also. I'm trying to figure out some way to do that, to capture the screen of the phone while live streaming.
Craig,
and whiteboard is it.
Yeah.
Do you know the remote viewer in the remote viewing Discord? I think his handle is Jeffro Destructo.
I've seen him around. I've never actually gotten in touch with him.
So he does exactly that. He's literally just got a big whiteboard on the back, and he does sessions with people, and he just turns around and writes it on the thing, so like you can see it live natively. Although you have to cover up that beautiful painting in the back.
Yeah. And you'd have to hide it from the person that you're streaming with, or have an agreement that they wouldn't watch when you're doing it. Otherwise, you'd influence their session.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I got the audio issue fixed. If you guys want, actually, Craig, are you guys cool if I live stream the sessions, because you already sent them to me, and then we can go over them?
Yeah.
Okay,
100%.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give me 1 second so I can find this and make sure the screens are all good. You guys can chat for a minute while I do this if you like.
Sure. And I've got like an hour and 20 minutes before I need to get out of here, because I got to be at work at 2 instead of 3. So.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Well, I mean, less awesome. I know there's a time limit, but that's plenty of time, I think.
Yeah, I think it's plenty of time. Also, we were talking the other day, Matt and I were, that like having some sort of constraints isn't necessarily the worst thing in all this. Like, it's kind of like that. There's that saying that like, if you give me a month to finish a project, I'll take a month. But if you give me 3 days, I'll take 3 days. Like, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you guys see my screen? Did the share work? Do you see, do you see Social RV right now?
Yeah.
I do.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, without further ado, so Jessa, I've only really seen your sessions on my site. I haven't really looked at your ones on Social RV. So maybe, Craig, if you want to go through this first one and kind of like, you know, prompt the interview and talk to her about the session, because you're probably more familiar, we can do that. So let's look at the target first. Social RV has such a cool, diverse target set. So it's this little guy. We can read this and then let's look at the session. If you guys want, just go ahead.
So I did a session on this, and I felt so good about my data, and then I looked down below and found Jessa's session, and just it was a humbling experience. So these characters on here, first of all, the target image was like this Japanese puppet, this like, you know, it's like a cultural symbol from this like very old kind of ancient art of creating these mechanized puppets that are like these little automatons, I think is what they should be called. You could wind them up and they'd go. But Jessa, if you just want to walk us through, just talk through your data from the top to the bottom, it's excellent.
Sure. You know what? Did you send those to me as well?
I don't think I did send
I'm
them to you,
using
but I
my
can real
Just,
quick.
just
I actually don't have
I'll
it.
send you on Discord. So this is the first one we're looking at. I just sent you the link. Are you able to access Discord and get on there?
Yeah, let me do that.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, just like I mean, I'm looking at this for the first time. While you're doing that, the thing that I immediately noticed, you drew these like humanoid figurines, and this one even, it's like this person's kind of hunched over and their arm is forward, which is like super cool. The idea of myth or cultural super good, and also the other thing I noticed is this pattern, like this pattern of like these splotchy stars that you drew. That's so
Oh
good.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, let me pull that up. Hold on.
You're good.
I'm gonna have to use my phone. I know it's a pain. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. Take your time. Yeah, spiral.
There's so
folding
much good
fabric.
data in here that she wrote the word keepsake, like cultural
Oh.
keepsake.
Oh
Anyways.
yeah. Okay. Let's see. Folding a fabric. Yeah, I remember. So this one. This was a little earlier in my remote viewing, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just kind of doing what I saw other people doing, basically. And I remember trying. I was like, okay, I'm just going to try and see what I see. And I could see this. It was like what I usually see as a visual experience when I remote view is a shadow outline, very basic. And then depending on how deep into a meditative state I become, the images will become more and more photorealistic. But if I am just in a normal waking state and I want to close my eyes and I want to imagine what the target will be, I will see an outline as a physical visual experience in my brain. Now for this one, I saw what looked like, the reason why I drew that little, what looks like a little baby down there, was it looked like a swaddle. It looked like one layer and then another layer. That's what the motion was in my head. One layer closed, one layer over it. So that's why I wrote folding fabric. The doodles were just, I don't know, just that, doodles. Those, I didn't see anything for those. My hand was moving and that's what came out. So I think it's cool that they kind of correspond with the fabric designs. The keepsake, that was all just a knowing in my gut. That was like quick within these types of sessions. I do maybe 2 or 3 minutes long. This one maybe have been long, was longer, maybe 15 minutes. But I don't usually go further than that unless I'm doing a full long session, which I rarely do anymore.
Your documentation is really good. You put your start time at the top and your end time at the bottom. Any sort of practice like that where you are documenting the process on your actual session data is not only super useful with regards to record keeping, like this one looks like it took about 14 minutes, and I know that just by looking at your session, but also it's good for just building a routine and a habit so that it becomes a more familiar feeling and a familiar process every time. I love this session so much. I remember when I clicked on it and I saw the old woman sketch sort of hunched forward with her hands forward. I remember like gasping, like having a moment where I was like, wow.
That's nice. Thank you.
Yeah. No.
I think I spend so much time in my own head. I don't really compare myself to others. So I don't know when you say like you felt really, are we able to pull up your session? I just was curious.
Oh yeah. If you go down below.
Oh, it's gonna. I like how Social Library has this feature. Oh, it's not. I don't see it.
I love it.
They used to have this.
Once you log in, it will pop up.
Shoot, I'm on the wrong browser. Give me a second and let me go on.
We don't have to do that. That's okay.
Also don't have to do it. I can just describe it because mine wasn't that great. I had, just like you saw the stars, I had like these patches of like island shapes with this water flowing between them, and I had this spiral shape. There it is.
That's perfect. Yeah, the spiral shape that's in the fabric. Yeah.
Yeah, so she has this spiral shape. I don't know if you can zoom in or not, but in the black part underneath that red, there is a
I see
spiral shape that flows around just like that. But
Oh,
then
yeah.
the other data that came along with that was it changes direction as it moves from right to left.
Yes,
It
that's
feels
great.
puffy, and moves at a slow and
Puffy.
steady pace. So like,
Yeah, I don't know what you're
wow,
talking about. That's a great session.
it was okay. But then again, I clicked on yours afterwards after feeling really good about my own work and was humbled. So I like that
That's so sweet of
experience
you to
because I
say.
get to discover somebody else's take on the target.
Yeah, this is really cool. This is a good one. Lucky, you mentioned like the meditative state that you go in. If you wouldn't mind, like briefly, I guess, detail what your protocol's like what your meditation's like how do you prepare and go through a session?
Sure. Well, first, what are my motives with RV? Because they're not necessarily what everybody's will be. I'm not looking to become a world famous remote viewer solving missing persons cases. I do this as a meditative practice. I do this as a personal practice and a practice of self discovery. But I don't I don't know what the future holds with it. I have tried many different methods. I love trying new methods, but as you'll notice, you mentioned how I had documented it so nice and neat. If you'll look at my most recent, they're not documented nice and neat, the end times, things like that. Mostly because with ARV collective and then social RV, or at least social RV, I know labels the timing for you and has the date and everything. And so for my own personal records, that's all I need. I don't need any. I don't have to go super into detail with all of my record keeping and things like that. Um, I know a lot of people are very particular about that, but I'm actually very type B of a person, and I don't really. I'm not very good at keeping on my documentation of the time and or any protocols. I just don't feel like doing them right now. If I feel like doing them again, I'll start up again. But yeah. So I basically my protocol right now is I sit down. I haven't been doing a cool down lately, but right now I've just been trying. I've been using it as an exercise for my digital drawing, actually, because it's fun for me to kind of like how Craig was talking about having limitations helps open you up creatively and get into that right brain space. The remote viewing helps me with my art because it helps me access imagery and things like that I maybe wouldn't necessarily have been able to access before. So I'll sit down with my tablet and I've been drawing first, and then I'll do maybe 1 or 2 ideograms, and then if I have any quick snapshot impressions, I'll write those. But that's as deep as I've been going.
Interesting. I have a very similar approach, and what I've noticed is that a lot of people in the remote viewing space don't like it, but it works with me. It's just kind of getting a very fast, intuitive snapshot and putting that down. I find that, at least for me, the more I like sit there and try to stare at a session mentally, the quality of the data doesn't get better, like the accuracy. I might come up with more details, but in my experience, those details aren't higher fidelity. So it's interesting to see other people kind of, deviating from the norm and trying new things. I like that.
I
Well,
have
with
one. Sorry,
ARV,
go ahead.
sorry.
No, please.
With ARV Collective, it's the target is visual, right? You don't like social RV. You have a lot of data. You have a lot of feedback. I'm trying to say, with ARV Collective, it's an image, right? So my sessions may look different on ARV Collective than if a person personally gives me or assigns me a session. I will do that complete. I will do a full. What am I doing? Let me look it up because I always forget the words wrong. Transdimensional something or the other. Anyway,
Oh, like TDS?
CDS is
Yeah.
is the only manual I've read. It's the only actual training I haven't received any training, but
So,
I have read that manual, front
mhm.
to back, and
Is
so
that the Prudence Calabrese manual from the?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice.
One of my kind RV friends sent me that, so I've been I follow that for when I have a personal session that I want to do. I'll do it way more in depth. but for ARV Collective, what is my objective? My objective is to make contact. That's all I need to, that's what I consider a win. Now, there is benefits to using a methodology. So Matt, you and I, maybe our goals are not so that we need to have that sort of practice in depth every single day, but folks that are interested in remote viewing, the method is the remote viewing, right? Because what we're doing is more probably
precognition almost.
Precognition, right? Remote viewing is very, that the culture of remote viewing is very strict about what they consider remote viewing and what they consider not.
Well, some people are stricter than others.
Some people are stricter than others, but it seems like the community is very particular.
Everybody kind of plants their flag. It's weird. It's like the CRV people think that you have to be like super rigid in your structure and follow all of the stages exactly. And the cowboy RV people believe that you should just have no rules at all and no structure. And everybody's sort of developed into their like camps and denominations. Like the religiosity of it is really kind of taking over right now with people like claiming territory on specific ideas. But really, the only two protocols are blindness and feedback.
Blindness and feedback, yeah.
That's it. You can experiment as much as you want around that, and you can change up your method if you want. I love the way you talk about it as feeling. Like, what do I feel like I want to do? Do I feel like I want to document it strictly? If I feel like that again at some point in the future, I will. But you have such a wide variety of hits. We should move on to the next one here. You have so many like more recent sessions where it feels like this very free form, like scribble art shapes, and then you look at them and they correspond to that. Like this right here, I love this.
So I just sent it to you just so you can see it as well. I sent the new one to you on Discord, so if you want to move and see the next session we're going to go over.
Thank you.
And then Craig, if you want to start going over this.
Sure. The beginning of this session feels super TDS.
Oh yeah.
It feels like a very standard TDS format where you're documenting everything up top, and you see this transit line that does a really good job of really isolating the shape of this cove of water. Like, this is just a natural, free-flowing, thoughtless line, and it really captures some of the target nature. I talked about that a little bit in here. And then after that, your data falls right in line, like your next scan here.
Oh, sorry, I forgot there was more. Perfect.
You're okay.
That's okay. Wow. I can see it. You can see it on my screen, yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, your first capture is so like feeling, and then all of this language just piles out of it. If you want to take us through this, or I could read it out loud, but it's excellent.
Sure. Let's see. So I was following that TDS manual directly. Now I'll mention, just for any viewers, if you're interested in the TDS manual, the transit line that I did, while it was very accurate compared to the feedback, I actually was doing them incorrectly. You're supposed to do it, like you said, thoughtless and quick. Mine was quick, but it was not thoughtless. I saw the image in my head and I drew the image. So it was not done correctly. That's why I think maybe it was so accurate, but that's only because it was visual data that I was receiving. It was not an actual transit line. It
wasn't done correctly, but it worked really well.
Yeah. I pushed back on these rules so much that I probably, if somebody was really looking in my charts, they probably would not like them very much.
I love intersecting channels down there in the lower left. That was really, really good with all of the water all flowing into that one area. You wrote channels above again, vertical lines, intersecting lines, ecosystem in earth, cave ? And then these ridges and grit, and it feels cool. Like, there are so many feelings that correspond with this. And then the next, under something, underground, and then the next
I like my Zelda Ocarina of Time fortress.
Yeah.
The fortress.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was really good.
Let's
I
see.
want to talk to you about this eyeball so badly,
Eyeball.
um,
Yeah.
but we'll go past that right now and I'll return to it. Look, Matt, at that second face right here, face in shadow. Look at that color and the dark color underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
And now zoom or go down to the target image. Look at the color of the stone on top, up on top where the people are sitting, and then the color of the stone down below. Those two colors where the water has been affecting the stone below and how it compares to the stone above, those two colors are almost exactly correct.
Wow.
I love that they came through in that orientation and she wrote them like that. And then also there's a guy sitting on top of one of those rocks and his face is half in shadow.
Wow.
It's like the angle of the sun is creating this shadow right over that guy's face. So all of that is accurate.
It is, and the concentric circles too.
Yeah.
Like that's literally like definition like that one's so good.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about the eye. Do you often see an eye or an eyeball in your sessions?
All the time.
All the time. Do you know that this is a fairly recurring, common experience that people have?
You know, I didn't previously, but I did recently watch a video about Forrest. It's by Forrest Knudsen. He's a guy who does Kriya Yoga and instructional videos about that, and he talks about the spirit eye. And so that was the first time I became aware that other people were seeing the same shapes in their meditations. That was pretty cool, yeah. But
So
what context are you speaking of? Yeah.
Exactly that, the exact same thing.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, spirit eye.
I made a post asking about it early on in my remote viewing experience. This was 3 or 4 years ago, and I had a session where I had clearly been interrupted by this giant eye, and it had been happening regularly because the way that remote viewing information feels to me is it's surprising, and there's a little bit of a just barely subtle shine that feels almost like a negative. It's like a negative photo impression. Exactly. It's so strange.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
but the eye conforms to that same like format of experience that remote viewing data does. And so for the longest time, I was like, oh, clearly this is remote viewing data because it feels exactly the same. Mm-hmm. But it's not. It's just this thing that you encounter in the remote viewing environment that is like this eye.
It's this phenomenon. And the way Forrest describes it is you meeting your nervous system. Or other people mention it as you meeting the eye of God or everything. You becoming in contact with that right side of your brain that's like one with the universe. It's pretty cool.
Carl Jung talked about the archetypes, about these characters existing in the subconscious mind that are the pillars and the foundation of all of our personalities and ideas, almost like the seeds of ideas. And that it's interesting because you can take different people from different cultures and put them in like a hypnagogic state, and they will describe the same type of characters. Like the eye is one of them. There are characters associated with like blood and bone and birth and milk and like all of this. There's a lot of very primordial concepts that are embodied by these archetypes, and one of them is an eye. And it makes me think about like all of the different cultures who have had these quiet mind exercises. Like if you think about like the biblical angel is this eye that's surrounded by these feathers, and it's like a very eye-centric character. Or like the Greek god Argus, the god of a million eyes, is another one. Or like the Egyptian eye of Horus, or like the Druid all-seeing eye. Like everybody who spends time in these practices, I feel like they encounter this character and they document it. And it's just very, very interesting to me.
Yeah, you want to know something interesting that happened to me, and you actually brought up the Eye of Horus. This around a year or two ago, I was having like almost like a fever dream. Like I was taking a nap in the middle of the day, and I was in like a hot room. So it was almost like a very short nap, and I had this really weird like half dream, half awake vision of the Eye of Horus, but I had no idea what it was. I didn't know what it was called, but for some reason I understood that it was like a very important symbol, or that it meant something. So I spent forever trying to look it up because I was describing it. I was like, I with this line over and blah 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 whatever, And, then I came across the Eye of Horus, but to me that was such a interesting experience because I didn't know what it was called. I didn't have a memory. I mean, maybe subconsciously I had seen it before, but in my, top level, consciousness, I didn't recognize it from anything. So to see that symbol in a dream state and then kind of have no idea what it is or feel like I've never seen it before, and then I look it up and it's a real thing, that was so, interesting to me.
Yeah. And on that post that I made, like after I set it up there and was like, does anybody else see this? I'm getting interrupted in my remote viewing sessions by this giant eye. Then like all the comments below were like, yes, I see it. I see it all the time when I meditate. Like I woke up thinking about this eye just now and looked at Reddit and found this post, and that's a trip. Like it was all of these comments of everybody else who has this experience. It's a very common character.
Do you have any other recurring shapes that you see with your sessions, or just the eye?
So the eye is the main, like I see it most sessions, and I just go through it now. Okay. Instead of like letting it interrupt my session, what I do is it's almost like there's this recognition that it's like, okay. I get that you're here. I am also here, and I'm going to continue in this process. And then I just go right through it and beyond into the remote viewing data. I see colored clouds sometimes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's another. Usually like a deep indigo or a purple or like some sort of like in that end of the spectrum, the cooler end of the spectrum.
Okay.
There are times though where I'll see like a orangish or a red, and those seem to be more energetic, like they move faster.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is super cool. Let's go to the next one because we have a few more. Just the same thing. I'm gonna send it to you so you have it on your end. It's another. It's another social review one. Let me just send that to you, Jess, and then I'll open it on my end so that me and Craig can see it.
While you're doing that.
I remember this one.
Oh. What is that? Oh, yeah. Oh, this one was cool.
I love this session.
Interesting. Are these like houses? What are these?
Yes.
Cliff dwellings.
Cliff dwellings, yeah.
Wow.
You know what's funny? I think I must have done this session before the previous session, because if you notice, I was getting this session as an AOL, and you can tell by the fortress, you can tell by the cave question mark. I was getting this as an AOL, so I was like, why? What is this? How is my target like this session? But yeah, that was cool.
I love all of this like stone red color, and I asked you online if those were supposed to be like anthills, like dwellings underground, and you're like, yeah, that's what I was seeing.
Yep, that's what I was seeing.
There's also like a structure. Like this seems like a underground structure that you're drawing here.
Yeah, exactly. That underground structure and some sort of symbol, some sort of star, and these like masks and face with that clay red color. This is a Navajo fortress, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. And for this one, I was in one of those zones where you just get and you just know you're gonna hit, and you're just like, I was drawing on my tablet at that time, and I was just letting my hand do its thing. I wasn't doing any specific protocol. I wasn't doing any specific. I put my hand over the colors options, and the red kept coming to me, so that's why I did the red. It ended up, I think, being really cool. Yeah.
Jess, I have a question for you because you mentioned that. When you're doing sessions, and Craig as well, you can answer this as well, do you have any sort of feeling, do you think you can tell beyond chance how good you're going to do on a session before you see the target? Like sometimes are you like, the data was super clear, I think I'm going to do great, it's great, and do you think that you have an ability to make those correlations? Because I certainly do. I have feelings. I can kind of tell when I made really good, crisp contact and it feels good, and a lot of times those are great sessions.
It is very state dependent. It's very dependent on how deep I am. If I'm super deep, and by deep I don't mean have been meditating long. Sometimes it only takes 5 minutes, but sometimes it'll take an hour or so. If I'm in the zone, if I'm doing multiple sessions, it'll be like a progression. You'll see me kind of suck, you'll see me hit, you'll see me get worse, and then that's usually my trajectory. As I get deeper into the state and then come out of the state, you can sometimes see that. But as far as this session, I felt like it was one of those where it felt different than usual. Usually I can have some sort of sense, and sometimes I'm correct and sometimes I'm wrong. A lot of times I'm wrong. Most of the time I'm wrong about how well I'm doing.
That to me is the indication that a person is actually a practiced remote viewer. When the feeling that they have most of the time is that there's aspects of this that are definitely going to be wrong, because usually there's wrong that comes out in the process.
Almost all.
Yeah. And that's, you just get used to it. It's part of the game. You're going to have misses, and you're going to have aspects of your session that are just way off, and you just have to move past that experience and latch onto the times whenever you know that you did make target contact and something really beautiful and strange came out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I also,
you have to, yeah.
No, go ahead, Jesse. You got it.
I was just gonna say that mindset is so important with remote viewing, and you really, if you think about your brain like an AI chat robot, okay, you're putting in the demands, and then whatever you're going to receive the output. Like if you keep doing it, you keep putting in the demands, you're going to receive the output. It's not going to happen immediately, but then if you continue to practice in the same way that you are every day, you will get better. That's how it works, right? Well, that progress can be sped up by changing your mindset on a couple of things. For example, instead of being like, oh, I really want to win, just be like, I'm really excited to find out what the feedback is. Take away all excitement for winning. The winning doesn't matter. Take it out of your mind. Don't let yourself think about it. If you put in the input, so I'm really excited to find out what the feedback is, the pressure drops, and it comes easier. I'm still learning so much every single day, but this is one thing that I've noticed, is that if you just change your mindset, anything's possible. Even though I know this, I still get in the old bad habits. I work continuously. That's just part of the process. You can't.
It's a struggle.
Yeah, you can't get down on yourself. You just have to push through it, like you said.
That's
I love
awesome.
that so much. I can't add anything to it. It's perfect.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Justin, I'm going to send this one to you so you can see it as well, and then I'm pulling it up on my screen for me and Craig. Let's see. I've seen pretty much all of yours on my site, obviously, because I look at all of them, but this one is super good. Craig, we had
this is my favorite kind of session. Yeah, we did.
And we did
this is my favorite kind of session because the picture just feels like the target picture. Mm-hmm. Like when you look at it, it just feels like she was looking right at it and she was trying to describe it.
That's one of those ones. I just was seeing it, and then I just drew what I saw.
Yeah. You know what's so interesting? I was just gonna say, you know what's so interesting? And I find this phenomenon happening sometimes, especially with colors, but sometimes with geometries, you get it perfect but inverted. I don't know what causes that, but it happens.
I think what happens is you're getting a package of information, and that package of information, your left brain is trying to interpret it. And in interpreting it, it gets some this is, I think, the same reason why you see things upside down sometimes.
Yes, yeah.
Is because like your left brain is trying as hard as it can, but it's really difficult for it to unpack those sensory impressions without the actual data, without the experience of having seen the thing. And so the left brain does its best, and it can get really, really close. Like if you look at these shapes that she drew, those oblong gray shapes, they very much match the same sort of, like, it's almost like you took putty and you stretched it a little bit. Like
Yeah.
it's that same kind of feeling of, anyways, it's just
I'm so
great.
glad that you're here because honestly, I'm so terrible at describing what I'm doing and what I'm thinking. So it's so helpful to have you guys talking me through this because like yes, exactly. And also Matt, when I said I just drew what I saw, I misspoke because the color, I actually did not see the color. I actually felt the color. So that was it. That was a different way of receiving that information. I what's it called when you're dowsing? I dowsed for the color.
I
So
love that you do dowsing.
that's
Okay.
how I did that one.
Did you actually do it
Not
with a
all the time.
pendulum or did you do it with your
No,
finger?
I did it with my pen. I just felt I did not do it any fancy way or maybe appropriate way. I just was like, where is it? And that's where I felt it. It was that color. I was like, that's the color I'm using.
So those two worlds are so closely connected. Joe McMonagle talks about this. Paul H. Smith talks about. He wrote a whole book on dowsing. There's a book that, if anybody's interested in this, it's called The Divining Hand. It's kind of a history of successful uses of dowsing, but it is just like sketching in that it takes your left brain out of the equation completely. It's all a feeling exercise. And so I love knowing that that's how you selected your colors. Thank you for telling us that.
You're welcome for this particular one. I just remembered that. Yep.
It's great. Do you know that that's how a lot of the missing persons projects work in remote viewing is they use dowsing. They'll train remote viewers to get into that altered state of consciousness and then perform a map dowsing so that they start off with a large map and then they douse it to an area and then they'll zoom in and douse a more zoomed in, higher resolution form of the same map and do that over and over again until they get a good location. And then they'll compare that dowsing session to other remote viewing dowsers and
That's cool.
see if there are commonalities. That's one of the ways that they do it.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I just admire so much the variety in your style. Like even in these sessions that we're going over, like the art style is different. You're using different styles of remote viewing. I just admire like the iteration because I think that like that's how you make great processes. You iterate a lot. You try a bunch of different things.
Thanks. Well, my process is like a kind of a reflection of my brain at that time. I really just go with the flow and do what I feel like. I ask my subconscious, how do we want to do this today? And if you ask yourself those questions, they'll come to you.
I love talking to your subconscious. Like I stole Photon's thing, and I do it sometimes with telling my subconscious, let your mind decide. It's such a cool phenomenon because I feel like it listens. It's almost like you're talking to a different person.
When you talk to yourself?
When I talk to my subconscious, I almost feel like I'm talking to someone else.
It feels like a different person?
Yeah, almost.
Well, the way I think, I'm not a philosopher. I am not a scientist. I'm a mom. I don't read all the books. So this is my opinion based off of my experience. But the way I think about it is your subconscious. It feels like talking to another person, because in my opinion, your subconscious is every person that you've ever talked to. It's every experience you've ever had. And you're talking to this, it knows things that you don't know, or maybe that you don't remember, but you are taking in information constantly. You're maybe processing what you are seeing, so many things at once, but then you have so much that you are processing maybe at a slower rate or at a different rate or in a different way, or downloading it into other parts of your body. And you don't receive that information again until you have a need for it. So for example, maybe you had to read a stupid self-help book in high school, and then 12 years later you're asking yourself, what would be the thing that would help me the most in this situation? And you'll get a download that feels very revolutionary, but then maybe a month later you'll be like, you know what, that sounds really familiar actually. Where did I hear that? Or sometimes you'll get information downloaded and I just lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. I go off on a tangent.
No, this is all. I love that.
It was great. I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. It'll come back to me maybe.
Yes.
Maybe
I heard one remote viewer say that remote viewing was like sitting with your soul.
Sitting with your
And
soul.
I love that. I think that is one question that I hope researchers will dig into is what
I wonder.
what sort of implications come from the question of how is it that we're getting this information and where exactly is it coming from? Because like the Tibetans, the idea that the Tibetans had in all this was the light body, that the light body was connected to all light that exists everywhere. And because of that, you can get information from the light body because it knows everything and it's experienced everything. And light doesn't age was another thing that they had. So you could always, you could visit time. And we know that now, like physics has gotten into that whole arena now with the idea that photons have no mass. And because photons have no mass, they don't experience time. And so like this old concept that the Tibetans were playing with has now been verified by modern physics. But no, that concept
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Think about it. If you think about, because we're connecting to, it's hard to say because the only time I have ever drawn my session exact was when it was a session I've already done. So maybe people receive information differently, but I wonder because if every bit of information from my subconscious that I have received appears to have been from my own brain, in symbol form from all of those experiences that I've had.
From your own brain at the same point in time or at multiple points in time?
Oh, multiple points in time.
Got it.
But I don't know that I can say that I've had an experience where I have the information is coming. So there's that underlying code or whatever. The information is coming, but the message or the symbols or the package that I receive it, that is always information from me. So I don't know what to believe. It's so fascinating. I love talking about it. I could talk about it forever.
Yeah, me too. The clairvoyance model versus the precognition on demand model is kind of where we're at. And you talking about how you don't know if you get information from any outside source or if you get information only from yourself at different points in time. It's very, very difficult to come up with any sort of an answer for that because we have to have feedback. And so because you're going to get feedback in the future, even if you don't have any information on the topic during your session, because you're going to be informed about it in the future, that process of looking at your feedback makes it impossible to know if you are only describing your sensory impressions from the moment you get your feedback, or if there is other information coming from some like clairvoyant source. I tend to think that the precognition model is correct because of the feedback requirement, because the quality of sessions drops so dramatically when the viewer doesn't have access to feedback. And even in the cases where like there were classified targets, those viewers who did the classified targets and didn't get full feedback summaries, they were still given a binary hit or miss report at the end. And so even that by itself is a type of confirmation of feedback.
Nice. This is also fascinating. We have one more to go over, Craig, that you found. Jess, I'm going to send it to you. And then I'm pulling it up. Let's see. Okay, nice. I thought it was going to be another one. You have more great ones on my side at least, but let's go over this one. This is super interesting. Just let me know when you have it open.
I hope I got this. I hope I got this right. But in the middle of this, I think you start talking to your dog, or something. I think there's
That's funny.
Maybe you left a mic open and you were doing text to speech or something like that, because there's this huge paragraph. I love it so much. Sorry, go on.
That's really funny. No, I wasn't. I was doing talk to text, but that was just the data that was coming.
Oh, I love it. Okay, go. I love this session.
Oh my God,
go ahead from the top.
It's so silly. Some of these are really silly. Yeah.
I love knowing that this was part of your session though, because I thought like you were totally dealing with life stuff, and it just made it into the.
That's so funny.
You know what's so interesting about this target? I think this is the thing that they sent to. Isn't this the thing they sent? But aren't there like audio recordings of all this like crazy stuff on this disc?
Yes.
Voyager 1 is.
I didn't know that. at the
Yeah.
time. And because there is no feedback information, I literally thought this was AI image. So when another acquaintance or friend that I was discussing this session with mentioned what it was, I was like, oh, and they said with it makes sense with the, how do you what's for dinner fruit? Let's see. Waiting for the bell, dinner bell, make it happen. I see letters. What the
And
heck?
then
Oh,
right in the
food
middle,
chow.
you're in this torrent where you're talking about dinner and make it happen, and then everybody run, and then you just say X shape. And then like I look over and you've got this X shape of all
Yeah,
these lines intersecting at that one point. And like up
right,
above when you're going through things and you're like stage, a word, stack blocks,
yeah,
Tetris, window, open shapes, machine, big, and then you hit right on it and you stay on it and you're like metal, curve, round, crown like, and then you just say circle in a square. And
yeah.
then you look at the target, it's like, oh Jesus, look what she did. And anyways, I just love how those moments just bubble up out of your data.
It's funny that you said it felt like I was talking to my dog or something like that, because I know there's something in there about the food's ready or something like that, or I don't know, I can't remember. But my friend was like, well, it is a message into space. You are
Yeah.
saying hello to anybody out there. So I didn't realize that at the time. So I thought
Come
that
and get
was,
it, animal guys.
come and get animal guys. That's what it was. That you found it, animal guys. I thought that was so funny. But now that I'm remembering, this was based off of Cowboy. I didn't know what a cowboy was. I was just trying to do something voice to text. I did not follow a rubric. I did not, or not a rubric. I did not follow a methodology. I know with Cowboy there is still, I don't know if it's ordered or if you hit all of these specific things. So it's not a Cowboy session, but it was inspired by that. So it was just mine was just stream of consciousness. What I saw, experienced, felt, all just talk to text. It's kind of, or actually, sometimes I do it on my phone and I just type it. It's really fun to just say, let yourself say silly things and fun things come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up at the top here, Matt, scan over the top right of that circle. There you go. Stacked blocks, Tetris.
Mm. Oh yeah.
I love that data came through because that's what that feels like there at the top, those waveforms. They feel like those Tetris shapes as they're falling into place. I really, really liked that. Also, you had talked about the number six, six of something, and there are these collections. There's two sets of three forms there, those three triangles and the three waveforms up above, creating six. And on the three triangles, there are six dots.
I
So
didn't notice that.
there's a lot of connective data there with that number that came through.
That's cool.
Your concept of a hemisphere, there's data that they put in the Voyager message that tells them about Earth and the different weather systems in the hemispheres and all that stuff. So like,
That's right.
anyways, there's just a lot that goes into this. I love it.
Thanks for sharing it.
Sleeping Kid has a session on this same target where he absolutely killed this. We'll have to find that at some point, and hopefully we can
Yeah.
talk to him too. I love how many people are excelling at this. Like, there's a whole crowd of remote viewers that you can pull in and talk to about their sessions, and it's just, I don't know, it's a really cool place that this practice is in.
Yeah, it's an amazing place to be right now.
I've actually spoken to Sleeping Kid over email. We've spoken a little bit over email. I think I might have asked him to do a conversation. I'm pretty sure his English is very bad and he uses Google Translate. I think that's the hard part. But he's a very interesting character and has some phenomenal sessions as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome. That was it. So yeah, Jessica. So those are the ones that Craig pulled out. I think that's a good batch for us to pick from. Like really, really good sessions. I loved going over your stuff. Is there anything else that you guys want to, I guess, go over on that note while we're looking at this stuff?
I didn't really know what to expect, so I am quite content. I had a great time. It wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. Thanks so much. Yeah. I don't know. How about you, Craig?
No, I just
You
really
guys,
love seeing other people's work and talking to other viewers. I love looking into the process that other people go through. It's very informative and kind of priceless for me to see how other people work. So
it's so
Perfect.
much fun. I love seeing how everybody's brain is different and the lens with which we see the world is different. It's really cool.
Perfect. Okay, I think that's a good note to end off on. Guys, thanks for so much for being here. This is awesome. We got to do more. Jesse, you know what you should do? One of these days, you should join me and Craig if you're up for it and live stream some live sessions. We really like doing that. We do it around once a week.
that's
So
such a great idea.
if you're up for it, you should join. And what we do is we each do a sketch and we all upload our sketches into one and we view the same target at the same time. So if you're down for it, let one of us know. Maybe we'll make a group chat or something, and I'd love to have you along.
I would do that. That would be fun.
Perfect. We'll coordinate. We'll coordinate over text after this about like times and everything. But that would be awesome. Thanks again for doing this, guys.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Awesome.
it's good to see you again, Matt. Jess,